Hi, and welcome to my channel. This is Kelly Borsheim. I'm an artist who sculpts stone and bronze and paints as well. And today I want to show you how I'm starting a painting from a little gesture sketch that I did many, many years ago, possibly 2015. And I'm finally getting to it with the subject I've been wanting to do for a long time of men and animals. So let's get started. I appreciate all your comments and your questions, and subscribe and like the channel if you're finding this content useful, and I really appreciate that so that I can continue to give things that people actually want to see. Thank you very much, and let's get started. So it occasionally happens that I actually put my studio a little bit in order, sometimes going through my inspiration stuff and just straightening things up a little bit so that I can actually think. And I found this sheet of paper that had several sketches on it because you'll see down in the lower left corner there's a comment that I wrote that said something about use my Croatian images, probably when I lived in Umago in Istria, Croatia, the northwestern part of the country that speaks Italian. I went to live there for about 3 months when my visa in Italy expired, and I wasn't ready to return to the United States just yet. So anyway, that tells me that probably these sketches came from 2015. And I believe I went to the US that year and I worked with male models to help me realize some of these ideas that unfortunately things got really hectic in my life and I haven't been able to get to. So I'm trying to get to them now. And let's take a look at this next slide. Now the next slide shows you how simple a sketch can actually be. It was about shapes and an idea was there, and it was funny because sometimes I look at my little sketches on napkins and little random pieces of paper like this and I think, good grief, what was I thinking? It happens like a bit like a dream because even the other night I woke up and thought, wow, I just dreamed that I wrote something really, really great for a book I want to write, and this would be really useful, or maybe not for that book, but I like what it says. Okay, great. But then in the morning, of course, it was totally elusive, and I don't remember anything about it anymore. So I'm thinking I made a mistake, because now with today's phones, I should just be able to pick up my phone and just start talking into it to make a recording of something, at least if I don't feel like writing something down at the wee hours. Anyway, so get back to it. You can see how simple the sketch is. And the strange thing was, when I saw it, I instantly had the idea of for the painting that I'm doing now. So in January, I worked with a male model and got him to lie down on the floor and did the couple of movements. And today I'm going to start actually making the painting that I've been envisioning. I have to just be open and honest with it. I have taken photos of the model because where I live is quite remote and I don't have access to models as I used to do. So I put this in Photoshop. I'm not really all that great with Photoshop. I mean, I'm not inept exactly, but I don't really know how to bring an idea finalized into Photoshop yet. So I just do the sketches enough with my images to work with so that I can kind of start the painting. But also, I'm at a place in my career where I don't really want to work from life as much as I used to, in the fact that I want to get a little bit away from realism, and everything that I've ever studied in Texas and in Italy was based on realism for working from something that you see right in front of you. I'm wanting to move away from that a little bit and get more into sensation because I feel as though I've studied anatomy a lot. I've done a lot of life drawing. I've done all kinds of different drawings and creations. And I want to move more into an emotional realm and paint a lot more like Eugène Carrière, who's my favorite painter. He was a contemporary of Rodin. His beginning paintings were, for me, nothing that I would call particularly, they were pretty much what was the time, just people in landscapes and whatever. But when he changed and he started doing monochromatic paintings with very soft edges on everything, all of a sudden I find myself dumbstruck. And that's what I want to actually go to, because I'm 57 now, and I'm aware that I'm lucky to have lived as long as I have, but also that I don't know how much longer I have. And I think I've got a lot of inventory that I might be able to live off of what I have done already, selling prints and a few originals that still exist as well. But my point is that it's so easy to get caught up in trying to make a living as an artist and trying to do small things that will sell quickly. But now I really, really, really want to get to this point where I'm going to do larger projects and give myself the space and time to say, look, it's important to get out the stuff that is inside of me and not think so much about money. It's easy to say, but difficult to do. So anyway, I made these other videos today while I started this painting, and I'm gonna let you go see it. And I may have, no, it's okay. I was thinking I would have to turn off the volume because I listen to audiobooks a lot when I work if I'm not doing something like writing where I have to actually think about words. But in this case, I think I took the videos with my phone and with my camera so that one or the other would work. Anyway, I'll stop dawdling. Let's get started. And again, leave your comments and questions. I really appreciate stuff. And let's build a little community and stuff. All right. Oh, to get into it, I'm using a paint called Asphaltum. I believe the brand is Rembrandt. And it's a nice warm brown paint. It's not as warm as the Asphaltum that I bought in the US, which I don't remember the brand of, or maybe I bought it handmade from a friend of mine. But I like the warmth of this compared to burnt umber or something like that. So I'm using Asphaltum, and I think in this case I grabbed a tube of flake white because I'm trying to use up a lot of the older paints that I have. And I'm also curious, everybody raves about paint flake white in the Florence painters in Italy do at the schools. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. They say it's creamy and stuff. But all right, so asphaltum and flake white, that's what I'm using at this level. Okay, thanks for, the canvas size is 100 centimeters tall, I think, by 120 centimeters wide. So, and you can see my big body in the picture there to give you an idea of the size as well. All right, so let me get started, or maybe I'll let the video overlap some of the other empty space. So I am already started. Thank you for watching, and keep going, and let's blah, blah, blah. And Borsheimarts.com also if you want to see some of my other work later. Ciao, ciao. If you like this content and also want to see a little bit more of some of the daily life of this particular artist, Kelly Borsheim, go ahead and become a patron at any level. And because I put a lot of posts there about works and processes, but also some of my collectors there wanted to know more about the daily living of the small town Italian village where I'm staying. And so some of those things are kind of going in there. Patreon, you can sign up for I think $2 US is the minimum, and anything more is appreciated because it will allow me to focus on these larger pieces that take a lot more time to do, not only just in the actual painting but also in the composition ideas and realizing things that seem nebulous at the beginning. All right, thank you for your support and your interest, and again, subscribe to this channel if you like what you're seeing, and check out Patreon. Thank you. Now here what I'm doing as I'm developing the bird of prey flying up over the man's horizontal body, I want to make sure that I keep all of my edges soft, that I don't commit to anything too early in the process. But more, I'm looking, not more, but that's actually a large part of what makes me feel emotion and things are soft edges. But more, I want to make sure that I'm having the transition of light be the effect that I'm going for. So I'm going to have a lighter bird, a snowy owl, like I did with my charcoal drawing duet of a dancer with an owl. But I also want to get this idea of movement with the man, so I'll be working on those kind of things. So I want to get the basic shape going on overall, and then I'll develop it, because what you see about getting a quality of light is you don't make everything light. You've got to have some dark. I don't need to do the high contrast stuff that I really like, although I have a feeling that if you can vary the contrast, I'll get a more powerful statement. So those things will develop as I go along, because right now with the asphaltum color, what I call root beer, there's a limit to how dark it's going to go unless I put the paint on really thick. Right now I want to keep everything washy, because believe it or not, the sketch that I have that you saw in the beginning, of course, that was hardly nothing, but it's not a fully realized idea. So a lot of these things are very nebulous in my brain until I physically get to that point on the canvas and make the decisions as I go along. That's why I find it really confusing for people who say, tell your assistant to do this, and it'll be great and do all this stuff. But I find that I don't know how to work with an assistant, because the process is sort of unfolds as I move along. Anyway, I'll keep painting, and please leave the comments and questions, and I'll get to as many as I can when I can, if you leave anything. And I apologize for my stuffy nose making my voice even more froggier than usual. Keep watching.